everyone, this is Alex from Cephable, and I'm super excited to share with you some of the latest things that are out in the newest version of the Cephable desktop app, as well as the companion app too. This is version 1.13.1, and so if you've been using the Cephable app, you've probably got an automatic update notification, but you can always go and double check by going to the settings and scrolling down to the bottom where you'll see this little tag here, 1.13.1. That's the new stuff we're talking about. Some of the biggest changes we have in this new version of Cephable are pre-built profile templates, which means when you go to add a new profile by clicking the plus here, clicking the create new profile here, or even if you're trying to switch from a detailed device page in the mobile app, being able to go in and tap or click here and see some of these built-in ones. We're continuing to build out more and more profile templates, so make sure to let us know on socials or in the community Discord or Facebook pages what types of profiles you're trying to use Cephable for, and we can go ahead and help work through new templates for them. But here are some of the ones we have. We have mouse basics, which lets you do things like clicking, dragging, mouse movement with voice controls, face expressions, and virtual buttons. We've got media controls for playback. So if you're watching YouTube or Netflix, or even if you're using something like Spotify on your desktop, having controls for those. We've got basic keyboard navigation using the built-in tab navigation styles that most screen reader users are using or most switch-based users are using. And so now you can do things like tilt and turn your head or use voice controls or virtual buttons to navigate. Then we've also got ones where you can try out all the different expression controls and see it type out those results. So for each one of these, for example, if I go to mouse basics, you can preview it and look at all the details. And then you can click this add profile button when you want your own copy to be able to edit from there. Or if I go back, you can always just immediately add it. So if you want to sort of use it as a template right away, you jump right into it. Let's take a look at what's in some of these. So for example, we've now got a search bar here where I can search for different controls. So for example, if I wanted to know what I could do to move my mouse down, then I can just type down here and see the result. So all of the stuff on this page is filterable. I can also go look at all these different details. So we've got things like double clicking with a single voice command. So I can say double click and it will do 2 clicks. We've also got some things here for holding click and releasing, which is pretty cool. This also introduces a new feature that we have for what we call latching and releasing of a button, which means that we can hold a button indefinitely until we explicitly release it. So now we have 2 different commands where I can do things like say hold click or say drag or hold mouse, or I can open my mouth and then I can release that mouse button or any key, right? You can just switch this out with any button or key using a voice command too. So I can say release or drop or stop, or I can close my mouth. So with this profile, we've already got really cool things set up where if you're using the head mouse controls in expression settings, you can do things like open your mouth, move your head around, and then close your mouth to release things. So you can do drag and drop using just your face. But you can do the same thing with different types of head movements too, or with voice controls. All of it sort of comes together. So this is one of our profiles. Be sure to go check out all the other pre-built profiles. But let's go in and make one from scratch now. By going down here to creating a new profile and creating it from scratch. And also if you love using the profile generator and having Cephy create one for you, you can still do that by going right here as well. So over here in creating it from scratch, I'm going to show you how to create a different hold and release type of set of controls from nothing really. So let's say we wanted to do something like scroll by using the arrow key. So I wanted to be able to hold up and then release it and hit down by turning my head down. So let's do this. We can go in here. We're going to add an expression control. We're going to do tilt your head back. Actually, let's do tilt your head forward. And so when I tilt my head forward, I want to press the down arrow key. So I can select that key here just like I would before. But now you'll see the new option. So I can either choose to tap the down arrow, hold for a specific amount of time, or this is where we have the new hold indefinitely. So I can go ahead and hit finish. Now, if I try to save this profile, I'm going to get an error saying that I can't save it yet because I could potentially get stuck. Meaning if I tilt my head forward, I have no way to actually stop it from hitting the down arrow. So we want to make sure that you've got a way to get yourself unstuck. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to add a new expression control for tilting my head back. And I'm going to actually have that release the down arrow key. So I'll go back in here. You can see we have a new step type for key/button release. And I'm going to release the down arrow. And now that I've got the ability to tilt my head forward to hold down and tilt my head up to release it, we've got a means to hold and release. So now we can save and finish. If I go into my new profile that I just created and I start expression controls, we can see it in action. If I tilt my head forward, we start going down and I tilt up and it stops. So let's do it again. I'm going to tilt my head forward and it keeps going. So I can sit here and it'll just keep going until I tilt my head up and then it stops. So now you've got that ability to basically pick and choose how you're using your different inputs. Press and hold a button in a game. Maybe you want to hold your aim button by holding the right click with your mouse and then using a different movement to shoot and then release it. Or you want to just have automatic running in a game, or you want to do this type of automatic scrolling, or do things like drag and drop. All sorts of new use cases unlocked by adding in this ability to do a latch or in release within your different profiles. Some other things too within our new onboarding, there's a new sort of flow. If you go into if you've created a new account, you'll see this, but better walkthroughs for understanding all the different inputs and places to go jump right into specific tutorials that are helpful. So for example, if I'm setting this up for myself, Cephy is helping me more along the way. And in certain places where it's helpful to see different tutorials, like learning the different inputs, it takes us right there as well, which is pretty cool. Lastly, some things you might have noticed already is we've changed how it looks when you expand your different profile cards. Instead of having that vertical list with a whole bunch of text, you can see the different icons for the different types of movements and more clearly see that when I tilt my head back, Cephable will run and release my down arrow in this case, right? So I can more easily look through those different profiles and understand what's going on. There's also a whole bunch of bug fixes and tweaks to make Cephable feel a little bit easier to use. Things like expression controls are much more stable and easier to use, so let us know how those are working for you now. And we've got tons of updates to follow, so stay tuned for more different types of expression controls you can use, new types of outputs, and better ways to make it a little bit easier to configure and control Cephable. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, tons of new pre-built profile templates are going to be coming out. So stay tuned. Thanks.